Hey guys, Jeff here. I just wanted to talk for a minute about a new tax that's being proposed in Canada here. I don't know how many of you are aware of it, but they are currently, Health Canada is currently trying to propose to the Canadian government to start putting a tax on unhealthy and fatty foods. So, for example, they would likely end up taxing most fast food, as well as chips, pop, energy drinks, most pastries, muffins, danishes, that sort of idea, as well as basically putting a tax on any foods that would exceed a certain amount of calorie count for their nutritional intake. So essentially, I've got a few problems with this that I wanted to voice. The main one being a very high ideology I don't think a lot of people politically get, and that is the idea of taxing versus freedom. Basically, the idea is that the more you tax something, the less and less access people in the middle and lower income brackets have to it. And basically, the more barriers it puts in people's way. Now, of course, the main problem I have with this is it kind of restricts those people's freedoms of what they can and cannot engage in. And at the same time, it really does not affect the rich or the higher income bracket in any significant way in terms of their free choices. So, what does it mean to a person making $500,000 a year that they had to pay an extra dollar on their bag of chips compared to the person that's only making about, $18,000 to $30,000 a year? Uh, in a lot of ways, what taxing a particular product does is restrict it to freedoms for people who have money and tries to limit to those people who do not. It's a way of basically telling the poor or telling the middle class, this is what we want you to do. We want you to stop smoking. So we're going to tax smoking until the point where it's only really accessible to those with a lot of wealth. So taxing freedoms like this, essentially what it does is restricts things to a select percentage of the population. And of course, I'm opposed to that because the alternative to taxation of product like that is always going to be and always has been better education so people don't make those choices in the first place once they're properly educated on the subject. As well as basically, there's also the idea of lowering the price on items that are healthy alternatives. For example, if you're going to tax cigarettes, then you should probably start really making sure that you're basically lowering the taxes on a number of other healthier items that people would like to engage in. So basically, they're starting to look at doing this with fatty foods. From what I understand, there's already a few countries in Northern Europe that have done this, and some of them have seen some success with it. Some of them have seen some very, very limited success with it. Personally, I'm mostly opposed to it for the freedom ideas, as well as I honestly believe that if the government and Health Canada wants us to eat healthier, they need to start doing something to really confront the high cost of fresh food. Really good things like whole wheat breads, fresh veggies, fresh fruits, that sort of idea. Because the way it is right now is those are the number one items where the price keeps going up and up and up and up and up, and it gets more and more difficult for people to maintain those alternatives, especially when, a 4-liter jug of milk is $5, and yet you can walk down the pop aisle and get 6 liters of pop for $2, when it's on sale. Or even better, you can get like 5 of them for $3. That's on all the time. So really, when it comes down to it, what's cheaper for these particular individuals? They need to drink something. It's either going to be milk or it's going to be pop. And what we're doing is we're basically saying, well, you need to be in the know and you need to have more money in order to have the whole wheat bread and, the milk in comparison to having the chips and the pop. And of course, what that's done is it's created a culture where we have a number of obese Canadians. And it's also created a culture where people have learned these habits of where it's cheapest to engage in their money when they're on limited income. So my challenge to the government would simply be, let's work not on increasing taxes on these fatty foods, but rather let's work with grocery stores on trying to encourage more engagement on healthy pieces and having more sales on healthier items. For example, putting in a law in place where, for every fatty item a grocery store has on special, they have to put two other healthier items on special as well. That'd be a fantastic way of encouraging that kind of behavior. So I would love to hear from some people that think that this fat tax is a really good idea. There's various bloggers out there that have made their arguments, and personally, I don't buy a whole lot of what they're saying, mostly because I find 90% of the time the studies that they are referencing, they either don't source, or when they do source, it's a study that's sponsored by an organization that is, basically very, very much in favor of this kind of thing to begin with. Uh, you know, it's done all the time. Companies sponsor studies that will come out in favor of whatever the company wishes to lobby forward for the government. So I'd like to hear from some of you guys on what your thoughts are on this issue, and yeah, I guess we'll take it from there. Have a great day.